Outsourcing is the process in which big companies contract work to a foreign country. Typically, jobs are outsourced to poor countries with little regulations to get the most effectiveness using poor workers while saving the most money. Typically, this is described as a good process for all parties. The company gets to make cheaper goods, paying the people in the poor countries, and then the company, in turn, sells cheap goods to the consumer in the richer country for profit. This may sound like a good process for everyone, as the poor people in the poor countries get paid, and the consumers in the rich countries get cheaper goods. But in reality, it is not good for all, and only benefits the rich companies. In fact, outsourcing is actually a major problem that is facing the world today. It has caused many problems in both the rich countries and the poor ones. For example, let's look at the American city, Detroit.
Frequently called the most cosmopolitan city of the Midwest, Detroit today stands at the threshold of a bright new future. One rich with the promise of fulfillment.
Detroit in the 1950s had a population of 1.8 million. It had 200,000 people employed in manufacturing, and the city was a booming town with a bright future. It was even called the motor capital of America. This was all before outsourcing had started. Now, Detroit is a disaster of a city. It has become impoverished and has lost a lot of its population. According to Forbes, Detroit now has a population of 700,000 and only 20,000 people have manufacturing jobs. Because factory owners wanted to save money, they took their factories up and moved them to countries like Mexico and China. This greed has cost Americans thousands of jobs. Now, some may argue that the process of outsourcing does benefit the people who now obtain the jobs, as they do get paid. And yes, they do get paid, but they get paid very little, and have to do work in horrid conditions. Workers are forced to work long hours, and they have very little health and safety regulations. Due to the lack of regulations, many companies will employ child labor in these poor regions. For example, Nestle is currently employing child labor on the Ivory Coast of Africa. They are using children to harvest cocoa beans as they are cheaper to hire. The farmers would have on average about 6 kids, with each of them being paid 40 cents per day. These companies treat their people like absolute garbage and only see them as a human resource.
Kakawa. Ni kakaka do borola akagudu.
Nita togo kurubali fongolo. Nana kofi kuro asandi mgwalo. Tuma do sirani rele kakaka oyirene do. Ni ka barakanya iba tono soro.
Fuck yeah, I'm videoing it. What the fuck?
I think that might be a gas station or something.
Fuck yeah, it's a gas. Whoa! Oh! What the? Holy shit! No fucking way! Oh shit! Oh shit! No, baby! Oh, no!
Nice. Are we dangerous here?
Yeah, we're dangerous. Oh my god!
Modern-day outsourcing could even be compared to imperialism, as both involve the extraction of resources, raw resources during imperialism and labor during outsourcing. The Dutch East Company could be compared to modern-day Nike. Both went to poor Asian countries and both took advantage of the people living there. Not only does outsourcing cause the exploitation of people, it also exploits the environment. Because companies move to countries with poor regulations, they will use the most effective methods to make more products. A new study by scientists at the Carnegie Institution for Science finds that over a third of carbon emissions associated with consumption of goods and services in many developed countries are actually emitted outside their borders. This is due to outsourcing and companies using the most effective and cheap methods, using fossil fuels, to make stuff. This has also led to a massive increase of air pollution in the countries. An example of this would be China. Based on data collected by the Wall Street Journal, for 2,028 days between April 2008 and March 2014, only 25 days were considered good. This means that 25 of those days they saw the blue sky. The rest of those days were all cloudy with smog. Now, it may seem like there is no solution to this growing problem, but I believe there is. If the United States government could just step in and prevent these countries from leaving by putting taxes on them for moving their factories to other countries, it would help reduce the number of factories moving, as outsourcing is all a result of companies trying to make money. If you tax them, it'll stop them from moving. Doing this would help benefit both the poor and the rich countries. The wealthier countries would benefit from this, as they now have more jobs for the people to work, causing a happier population. Poor countries would help benefit from this, as they can now develop their industry naturally and not have their environment messed up because they lack the regulations that they haven't developed the industries. And they'll also be able to keep their resources for their homegrown companies. The solution would be very beneficial to all who are deeply entangled in this mess. I believe that fixing this complication of outsourcing can help stop global warming, help the environment, and make the world a better place.